Hi, this is Abdulaziz Khan, and in this second video of my Python journey, we will talk about Jupyter, that how you can use it. I will give you small demo of Jupyter. So right now, this Jupyter is running, on my system. If you run Jupyter, then like for example, if you go here and ask it to run Jupyter, it is already running, but for example, if you run it again, in the start, this opens a small window, and this on this window, if because of any reason, sometimes there are some small issues going on in your system. So, for example, if you are stuck on this, because this will open up very fast, and maybe you stuck here and nothing else happens, then it is telling you that okay, you can access this by opening either this file in the browser or this location of a local host, because Jupyter is basically there's like it's saying here that there's a notebook server app which is running. So basically there is a server app which is running in the background, and this server app is running your Jupyter session. So there are many ways. Either you can use this local host or this IP address or this file. All of these will like for example, okay, let me try through this file. Let me open it once again. So I copy and now I paste it here, and so you see that I copied and pasted, and it opens that file. Again it went back to show me that this is a local host. Basically there's a port number and the tree is being shown, but just to let you know that if for example because of any reason if you are stuck, then you can still open your Jupyter from the address which is being provided here. But this should remain running. If you want to close your session, you can either quit from here. You can stop the Jupyter server, or you can log out of the Jupyter server. So both of the things. For example, I press log out, then it will try to access that server because I already closed that, so it was not able to reach. So let me open it once again, Jupyter. Now if I log out, you see it's successfully logged out. You can log in again. It will ask you to provide a password or a token. The token is the same which is shown here. So if you copy this token from here and then you supplied this token and you say login, so it has logged in through the token. So but if you will quit, then the server should stop, and this page should be turned off as well, but it's not turning off. Sometimes these small things happen. Like generally if you quit, then this page should also be closed, but right now it's not closing the page, so I have closed it myself. So that's how I was just showing you 2-3 ways that how you can reach your Jupyter notebook. This window should be running while you are using your Jupyter. Should be running because this is the server which is running on the back, and you are accessing Jupyter from this web page. So you can, this web page is this is showing the default directory of Jupyter, where Jupyter is you can say that the directory that we have made as a part of Jupyter, you can change that directory as well if you like. Right now I will not tell you how to change the directory, but it can be changed. Like for example, for me, this is my main root directory. I mean, it's a C users and then my username. This directory I am using as Jupyter. So you can, if you want to do anything with this directory, you can do from here as well. Like for example, you can select all the files. You can move the files somewhere in some other place. You can even delete files. If you delete files, then the files will be gone. You can select, sorry, these were the folders. You can select files. Then there is one more type of thing, which is notebook. It's saying that it has selected 5 notebooks. So these 5 files, these are called the Jupyter Notebook. Their extension is IPYNB. So this is an interactive Python notebook, IPYNB. I is for interactive, PY is for Python, and NB is for notebook. So anything which has extension of IPYNB is basically can be opened directly in Jupyter. So from here we can do some normal file kind of things like move file, delete file. If you want to bring some file from some other place and you want to bring it here, then what you can do is that uh, you can go and upload. Then you can find your file wherever it is. When you will upload it, the file should be copied in this place. The file should be available here. If you want to make a new file, then either you can make a Jupyter notebook like the notebooks that we have. You can make a text file, you can make a new folder, you can go to a terminal. Terminal should open the PowerShell window. This PowerShell window is sometimes required. I mean, if you want to add something in Python, for example, we will see it later. But if you want to add something in Python, then you need to run it from the command line. So you can open a command line terminal for Windows PowerShell. So this was, you can say, the initial or the main interface of Jupyter. This is, you can say, not that Jupyter that we will be learning from, but this is where from, this is the place from where you will enter. I mean, so let me open some of my file, any one of the file. For example, okay, let me open this finance project. Okay, so this is, maybe before opening that, let me show you a blank Jupyter file so that you can see that what is basically a blank file. Okay, so this is when you open a new file. I mean, this is a new file, and let me make the size a bit bigger because you can, so that you can see it more easily. Okay, I hope it is more visible now. So this thing here, this is called a cell. This is a single cell. In single cell, you can write a single line of code, or you can write even multiple line of codes. So for example, if I write here, the same thing that everyone loves to write, I don't know why, I mean, but let me write as well, hello world. So now if I will enter, then it will go in the next line, because entering means you want to go in the next line. To run this, you can click here, or you can control and enter. So you see, as soon as I control enter, or if I put it here, I go in run. Okay, run will, so difference is that the run will run this, and then it will open a new cell as well, so that you can do something else. And this number 2 here is, it shows that you can use that I will tell you later as well something, but you can use these cells not in a sequential way. uh, you can use, for example, you can run one cell before the other cell, but that those kind of things we will discuss more when we will discuss the Python programming language in more detail. Right now I'm just trying to give you some idea of this interface. So as I told you that this is a cell, the cell can be used in multiple ways. For example, let me go to this cell. Right now you can see here this is written in code. I mean, code means that this cell will be used as a code. Whatever will be written, it should be taken as a code, and then that code can be run. I can make it as a markdown cell. Markdown cells means that you write something here, and that will not be understood like a normal Python code. Look, for example, I run it, but running did not produce any result. I mean, it is just used as, you can say that, as a something that you want to give. For example, this that you, if you want to give some idea to some other guy that okay, what is happening here. For example, this uh, we can delete as well. We can delete a cell. We can add a new cell. So, for example, if I go in edit and then I ask it to delete this cell, so this cell is deleted. If I will go in edit and I can add a new cell, or from here just by putting this plus sign I can add a new cell. To this cell I can make it in these 3 or 4 different things. Like I can make it as a heading, so this will become a heading, not a normal writing like the markdown is a normal writing. Heading means that it should be using some special characters as well. So whatever we will write will be uh, in a different size. So this will become like a heading. So these are some of the ways that you can use a cell to make a full for example, if you want to build something, you want to show to someone that, so you want to tell him that okay, in each step or in each cell what are you doing. So for that you can add these markdown cells or the heading cells, and in this way you can make different sections of your program, and then you can tell the other guy that okay, this part is doing this and that part is doing this. Okay, let's not spend more time on it. So file is a normal file. You can open a new notebook, you can open something else, you can make a copy, save as, rename, and edit. As we saw, you can cut cells, copy cells, you can paste cells, delete cells, undo, delete. You can split cells, merge cells, move cells up and down. View is like toggle header, toggle toolbar. So for example, if you want to toggle header, then the header is gone, you want to bring it back so it is back. So in view you can do some of these things. Insert is to insert new cell. Now cell is to run cells. So run cell can be done from this run as well. Only one difference is that I will show you later as well, and we will use it. That for example, if sometimes we write something in 3-4 different cells, but we want to run them sequentially, one by one. So we can go in the cell and then we can ask it to run all above or run all below. So wherever last cursor will be located, it will run either all of the cells in the whole book, or the cells above that point or cell below that point. So you can use it to run more than one cell. Otherwise you can just run a cell and select whatever is below, run a cell and insert a new cell below. So this is what this also do it runs, and then it selects another cell in below that. These are also, I mean, this is like, this is save, this is cut, so this can also be used, I mean, in the same way. Here you can open a kind of command palette for Jupyter, and you can use some of these commands which are not, you can say that all the commands are not shown here. So some of the commands you can use from here as well, from this keyboard icon. Okay, something I will show you later as well. Let's take a bit of, let me open one of my opened project. So let me zoom out a bit, because okay. So now you can, for example, you can see that this I have already put something, I have run something, there are some errors as well. So here you can see that this cell has only a single line, this cell has multiple line of codes. Here basically I have not provided any big informations, otherwise generally these cells are used to tell that what should be going on. For example, I can say here that this program will fetch data from investing.com. So for example, if I write something like that, and that data will be put in a data frame and convert it to an Excel file. So now if you had found this with in this way, I mean, it's very simple that this should be a bit better for you. I mean, this will be giving you some idea that what this code should be doing. Generally these markdown cells and the heading cells, they are used to provide you with a lot of idea about whatever is going on in the code cells, so that whenever you run a code cell, you can understand that okay, what kind of what you will be expecting, I mean, what should be the result of that cell. So we use it for generally for that purpose. So one thing that I did not use tell here, I will tell it to you right now. Sometimes what happens is that, for example, these programs are not that much tricky. I mean, these are very, you can say, simple programs, and they run without any big problem. But still, because of, for example, because of any reason, sometimes what happens is that you make some wrong kind of code, and your system goes in infinite loop. Everyone who has some kind of programming experience, you must know that sometimes the program is stuck, I mean, and you are doing something, and then you are there should be a for example, if we run something, there comes a clock, I mean, the hourglass type of thing. It means that the kernel is running, I mean, it's trying to run the program, and it's not stopping, I mean, because of any reason, or it maybe it's taking time much more than what you were thinking initially, and you want to stop it. So this kernel has a lot of things, I mean, for example, change kernel. If you have different kind of Python, or if you have some different thing as well, and you can even change the kernel which is running on the backside. I mean, you can, from Python 2 you can go to Python, from Python 3 you can go to Python 1, or vice versa. You can shut down the kernel, I mean, this will stop it. You can reconnect. So it means that we are assuming that it was disconnected, and then you are reconnecting it. You can interrupt the kernel for a while. So For example, when you, it is like Control C, which we generally use. If you put Control C, then whatever it is doing, it will stop. Restart means that the kernel should be stopped fully and it will be restarted. Restart and clear outputs means that it will stop, restart, and if you have run anything, like for example here you can see that there is some, this is an output, I mean, so all the output should be gone. And restart and run all means that the kernel restarts and then it runs everything again, whatever is in this notebook. So this kernel is also very useful. I mean, when we will be doing real programming, then sometimes you will see, especially in the machine learning type of codes, sometimes your code is does not work the way that you want, and it goes in some kind of tunnel, which is there is no light at the end of tunnel, so it takes the whole life of you. So this is, you can say that this is what a Jupyter notebook is all about. So now what is good of a Jupyter notebook? I mean, why we don't use any other thing? I mean, there are a lot of beautiful IDEs like PyCharm and like Visual Code and many of these. So, and why I like Jupyter for the learners? So the best thing is that, for example, if you are doing something on some ID, there are some kind of limitations. I mean, I will not call it a limitation, but there are some type of limitation. For example, if you want to run two pieces of code, then it's not very easy. I mean, you have to open either two windows or you have to open two files and you have to run two codes and two files. Here the great thing is that every cell is runnable. You can run this cell again and again, you can change something, you make this W bigger and then you run it again, you see this thing has changed, this H is smaller, you run it again, the H is now bigger. So even if you have put one line in every cell, you can play with each of the lines for, and you can do two different kind of things also. I mean, but one thing you should remember, that whatever is in a same notebook, it is related to each other. It's not like that if you did something here, it will not have an impact. Whatever you do here, if it has an impact on this cell, then it will have an impact. For example, I declare here that a is equal to 2 and then I ask it to print a. So okay, it's saying that a is not defined because I need to run this first. So when I run this, because at that time I had not run it, so that's why it was saying that a is not defined. But it was not saying because a is defined here and they printed here, because as I told you, this whole notebook is connected to each other. Whatever you do in one cell has an impact on the other cell. And one thing that you maybe you know about Python or you don't know about Python is that Python is a sequential language basically. It runs in a sequence. Whatever is run first, whatever is written first, it's basically run first as well generally. I mean, there are some exceptions when we will be talking about the actual programming language. Then we will see functions are some kind of exceptions. I mean, you can define functions. Functions are called. I mean, they are not run as a sequence, but generally a program runs in a sequence. So that's why these are, there is a numbering. For example, you can see that this is number 6 and this is run after that, so this is number 7. So if I run it again, you see this will become number 8. So it keeps a kind of log that okay, which has run first and which has not run. So from that you can understand that okay, I have done this thing and now I have to do this other thing. So one thing, for example, I have run this already. I know that that's why it's printing a is equal to 2. For example, I make it 22 and then I come here, and now if I run it, it will still print 2 because I have put 22 here, but I have not run this cell up till now. When I will run this cell and then I will run this cell again, now it will print 22. So, but one thing I don't know, I will check. When you change something in a cell, a small asterisk is placed here generally. It shows you that the cell has been changed, but it has not been run. So I'm having some problem with my throat, but it's fine. So we will not go in a lot of programming detail right now. Today in this lecture, I just wanted to tell you that what are the benefits of this Jupyter, why I like this Jupyter. So now what you can do if, for example, if you have made something good here, you can save of this file and you can give a name here. You can give any name. I mean, you just click it here, it will open, and then you can save it here, and then once you will save it here, it will be visible in this window as soon as you save it. For example, I just save it for you. I give it a name of test, and then let's go here and we see here, this is the test. This is running right now. These two green notebooks, if you see here, these two are running. It is written here that it is running as well. From here as well, you can select these two which are running. So this will select these two. Even from running, you can see that okay, you have one terminal open. This is the terminal, and you have these two running. So it tells you that you have a terminal running. You shut down here. So this terminal is closed now. In the same way, you can shut down these as well. This finance project, you see this changed. Now it's saying that the kernel is dead. So you can either restart, or you can say that don't restart, and not saying there is no kernel right now. So you can close it from here and leave it. So I hope this is small video, not very small, I mean, but it should have given you some idea, uh, not very much, because when you will be working on it, then you will learn more. So I will suggest that you install it, you use it. If you have any problem, then you can give me your comments, and if you think that it's fine for you, then we can very soon I will put my first programming video, so you can start learning Python programming. Right now I think that whatever we have discussed is enough for you to know that what is in a Jupyter notebook, and what are these things. You don't need to know each and everything in detail, but I think whatever I have covered is fine and enough. And what are these? I mean, these cells. This can be code or markdown or whatever. So from here you can take a cell up or down as well. For example, if you do something here and then later you assume that okay, this should be go up and this should come down, though you can change their places. So okay, see you in the next video, and let's meet again. So goodbye.